Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste.
I'm a king of rock, there is none higher. Sucker MCs should call me sire. To promote my kingdom, you must choose fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire.
Now we rock the party and come correct. All sets are on time and rhyme connect. Got the right to vote and to elect. Another rapper can't stand it, but give us respect. I wanna rock.
Back in 1955, man didn't know about a rock and roll show. No, that guy. White man had the smokes, black man had the blues. No one knew they was going to do what Tchaikovsky had to do. Oh, let me rock. Do you know what I want? I love rock and roll. Put a lot of time in the jukebox, baby. And it came to pass, the rock and roll was born. Love crosses and every rock and band was going up a storm. And the guitar man got famous, the business man got rich, and everybody was a superstar. He was a spirit. Ah, let me rock. Do you know what I want? I love rock and roll. Put a lot of time in the jukebox, baby.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out on loan. Riders on the storm.
And the music was good and the music was loud.
Yes, I like that.
Sorry.
No problem.
I'm trying to send out a thing on mine.
All right, here we go. This is an excerpt from a movie. It's a really good movie, really.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs.
And up, everyone.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
And that's it for that.
Fucking I am mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an excellent movie, too, because everybody kind of does it and shit. It's cool. It's a cool flick.
I noticed that the actual title of the stream is Exelereighted Deconstructed Dash. That's a good title.
Well, it should be. It should say CRT everywhere. I don't know.
Maybe it does for other people.
Well,
sometimes
I tried to
it doesn't update.
Well, something's fucked up with the Streamio, so. But,
It's blank here at YouTube, but I'm using Brave, so.
I don't actually give a shit because, to be honest, this stream is about us being mad as hell and not wanting to take it anymore, and that's all anybody needs to know.
Indeed. I had a mini rant on my stream earlier. I'm tired of the bullshit.
Like what?
Like us getting pushed around. Let's let the minority group, because they are a minority, even though the media pumps them up and acts like, oh, this is more than half of our country speaking out. It's not. It definitely is not. The majority of us are just sitting silently, and I'm getting tired of it. And the ones that actually speak out, they type their bullshit on Twitter. Oh, we need a civil war. I'm over it. I'm over it. You guys need to stand up to these little punks out in the streets and burning shit down, or sit down and shut the fuck up, because I'm tired of the grandstanding of it all. It's doing nothing.
And I would say if you aren't going to go stand up to those motherfuckers out in the streets, you are asking for a civil war. Go fucking get to it. We all know how bad civil war is. Don't do it. If you're that pissed off and you're ready to stand up, go do it.
I mean...
Don't yell on the internet. Go do something about it. Figure out a way to find a solution. I don't care, but figure out a solution. Don't sit here and bitch at me.
Well, everybody's holding out hope that our politicians are going to actually suddenly grow a spine and stand up to pee and do something on our behalf, and it's not going to happen that way. They're bought and paid for.
Yeah, no. 75% of the GOP is already preparing to go back to business as usual and get their pocketbooks, filled up too.
Exactly.
No, and that's quite obvious by now.
It's going to take normal citizens standing up for ourselves and essentially bending these punks over our knees and teaching them a lesson, because their parents did a horrible fucking job. The school system sucks, and everybody's just like, oh, whatever. It's a normal day. Everything's fine. I have a job. I'm going to work. But meanwhile, everything's chaos in the big cities. It's not like that in middle America or even in my little small town. These people in my town have no idea. The only reason why I know is because I'm on YouTube all the time and I see it. I'm exposed to it. But if I try to talk to a friend that's not involved in YouTube or anything, they're just like, what? That's really going on? I had never even heard of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
so heavily suppressed.
yeah, like we're being incredibly generic right now. So I just want to focus in on some of the issues you're talking about. Look at what's going on in the streets of Portland still. Even though Biden's going to be, got elected, right? He was supposed to be the great savior. The Democrats held us hostage saying, if you want the riots to end, just elect us because we'll make them happy and we'll capitulate to them and they'll stop burning shit down. Right? It's not that you agree with anything we're going to do. It's just they'll be happy then and they'll stop burning stuff down. So vote for us.
Yeah, but that's not okay. So it's actually way worse than that in Portland. Laws are disproportionately enforced against anybody who is not a member of Antifa.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it, and it's because you've got a whole bunch of political appointed judges that.
Oh no, the cops
and this
do
is
it too.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of the cops are just taking orders and they're spineless. Actually, you know what? A lot of them aren't spineless because a bunch of them quit, right?
Yeah, but Back the Blue is dying up here. It's dying. Like the movement is dying up here. Like
they got attacked too many times.
But so you have papers from 2005 in critical theory. We've talked about these, right? Where they wanted activists to go into law and become, lawyers, pass the bar exam for the purpose of bending the law in order to fit the critical social justice narrative, right? To be friendly towards anything critical theory related. And that's exactly what you're seeing in Portland.
Well, yeah, the DA, his parents are connected to communism. He was born and raised into it, and he has that viewpoint, and he outright has come out and said, I'm not going to prosecute anyone that's on the side of Black Lives Matter or Antifa because it's pushing the agenda that he agrees with.
Yeah, methods don't matter anymore, right? The rule of law doesn't matter. It's all about the ends, right? The means will always justify the ends to this current wave that we see. And if there was an overall theme to this stream, and this is why we invited Becca on, because Becca and I talk about communism specifically. This is another. What we're seeing right now is critical theory being used as another backdoor into socialist and communist ideas. It's another way to inject them into the West.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I for a while was straying away from it, but it's becoming too obvious. There's too many similarities to how communism and socialism rose up in other countries to what we're seeing now.
You know what I've never read is Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And
I never had to read it because I've read enough excerpts so that I probably read the entire book just by quotes.
Right. But the whole, hold your opponents to their own rules, right? Where that you have to, you constantly make them adhere to their own rules. Call out their hypocrisy. It's that's a tactic that they take. I mean, it's crazy. He suggested that if you had a certain level of power, the best way to protest would be going to a room and after eating a lot of beans and flatulating and blowing people out that way. I mean, serious, dude. It was like
it was a huge threat.
What the fuck? It's just so dumb. I mean, how retarded do you have to be to get to that level, right? And
then it works. That's the disgusting part of it. It actually works.
Yeah, the problem is that liberals, and I you have to know, Becca, on this stream, I always use the word liberal in the classic sense. So people that have liberal values, they're not going to play by those rules because it goes against liberal ethics.
Right.
Well, okay.
And that's the disadvantage. It reminds me, actually, God, probably nobody's going to get this reference, but there was an episode of The Real Ghostbusters, the old cartoon. And there was this episode where they were talking about how good versus evil would fight like every 10 years or whatever on a preferred battleground. And it turned out to be a baseball stadium. And the biggest problem good had was evil was allowed to cheat, but good couldn't. And I just feel like that's where the handicap really is right there.
Yeah.
Because they are using our values against us.
Absolutely. Like almost, especially liberals that like they really do believe in equality, right? And they really do want to solve any racial injustices that exist. It's really seductive, this critical theory nonsense. It's really seductive for them to see, all right, there's still all these disparities between races, and there's complicated,
the seduction, right?
Well,
the
yeah,
idea of a utopia, and it's
exactly. So
actually,
we look at
we're living it, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, right. So we look at disparities in America right now, and a lot of economists and people that do rigorous studies have come up with explanations that are complicated as to why different groups have disparate outcomes. They're complicated and they're hard to solve, and there's no easy answer. And there's a good chance it's not something that some centralized authority could ever possibly come in and fix, right? It's going to take like a massive cultural shift in the way people think and the way people act in order for any change to actually happen.
Well,
however, the critical theorists come in and say, no, actually, it's all systemic racism, and we're not really going to define what it is, but trust us, put us in power, and we'll solve it. All of a sudden, they came in with this easy answer. It's not a real answer, but they're making it sound easy, and it's seductive to people. They're like, okay, yeah, let's go with these people.
Divide and conquer. Race is the easiest way to divide and conquer civilization.
Well, yeah, and it's amazing how, like I said, all roads lead back to this. How many, since COVID came out, how many articles have you read on health equity?
Not too many.
Yeah, I see them pop up all the time. It's all nonsense. Like,
what kind of equity?
Well, health equity doesn't even make any sense.
No, it doesn't, but people buy into it.
What kind of equity?
Health
equity.
Okay.
Yep.
There's this misnomer that everybody will have equal health if they have equal access to healthcare, and if they don't, it's systemic racism for not having equal access to healthcare.
No, it's their fucking
bizarre.
DNA. I mean, goddamn.
Yeah,
you know,
because it completely ignores things like proclivity for genetic disorders or lifestyle choices, or so yeah, it's bizarre, and it's really unsettling if you're somebody who actually cares about the health of your family.
Yeah, I mean, all the health equity articles are just it goes back to that critical theory or scientific method, the critical theorist way. Is they're like, well, different groups have different coverages and health outcomes. COVID-19 is happening. Therefore, we need all these measures to socialize medicine in the United States to deal with health equity issues. No other explanation possible. And it doesn't, you can just write the paper, throw the garbage out, put it up on the internet, and all the trusted sources agree, so no room for argument. And if you disagree, you're racist.
Well, okay, so I watched actually probably Tim Pool's best excuse me, Timcast IRL has been to date the one he had yesterday with Hotep Jesus.
Oh, I haven't gotten a chance to watch it all. I planned on doing that.
It is absolutely amazing. What they talk about is just, it's Hotep Jesus really does look at the world totally different than most people do. It's fascinating to listen to him discuss things, and he is very much an optimist, and he expects other people to be optimistic too. It's a really interesting exposure, and I think it's the type of thing we need to promulgate.
Yeah, actually, anybody that, especially if you just want a good laugh, follow Hotep Jesus on Twitter. I've been following him for a while, and he's actually also very Rothbardian, which and he used to read Murray Rothbard. He actually just outright admitted it, like he liked my post and said, like, just did like a winker or whatever, because I was just like, okay, like Hotep Jesus is now officially the Black Murray Rothbard, because he kind of is when it comes to a lot of issues on like freedom, and he explained voluntarism.
Yeah.
So he won't call himself an anarchist. That's fine, but he's pretty close to that.
Yeah, he really doesn't like government at all.
Yeah, well, and a lot of his message to black people is like, stop thinking that electing government officials is going to fix your problems.
It's not going to, and he's absolutely 100%
I
correct.
know.
It's beautiful. But he made a lot of white people jokes. Like, no, you white people this and you white people that, and they were jokes because, and he explained it later on, is that he's just recently come to the realization that it's okay to like white people. And it was
it's I'm only laughing because it seems so obvious, but in the world we live in today, it's a controversial statement. Like, that makes him an Uncle Tom just for coming out and saying that.
But imagine how superficial that makes us, really.
Well, he didn't even say it like that.
Yeah.
He said, I'm trying to learn how to like white people. Or something along those lines. And he wasn't trying to say it in like an offensive way. It was like he's really honestly trying to learn how to like somebody that's been vilified to him for most of his life.
Yeah.
It was really quite fascinating. And if you're into critical race theory, or if you're into learning about it, he just blows that shit up, dude. He just blows it all apart. He even says that desegregation was a trick. And in the way he said it, he's absolutely 100% correct. It never should have been the government that created those rules and those laws. It always should have been something that was completely social, and it should have been completely voluntaristic. And with that, I totally agree with him. I totally agree with his premise.
So a lot of people go back and they say like, oh, it was the Democrats that were the KKK, and it's like that's true enough, but the Republican Party from the 1920s all the way up to the Civil Rights Movement was largely consisted of, they were calling themselves conservatives, but they were conservatives in the sense they wanted to conserve liberalism, which is what makes conservatives in America way different than conservatives in other countries, right? Like, you hear about conservative Muslims, they're ISIS terrorists, right?
Well, that's because
even
they're
the conservative
conserving
party,
for religion. For us, it's conserving freedom, because the premise of our country is freedom.
Well, even in Britain, right, the Conservative Party is, what they're really trying to do is conserve British traditional values. And I know some of that is in American conservatism, right?
But Americans' traditional values are radical.
Some of them are, but I'm just saying, like, if we've always had, like, the liberal principle was always, if you have these communities that are going to be highly religious and they're going to have certain values, and, like, it might be oppressive to some, but that's what that community wants to do, and other communities are going to differ. And the thing is that one community was going to never just try to impose their will universally on other communities, right? And that's changed to my household, right? Just don't try to do something to force your views on how you live your life onto my household's views on how to live my life, and everybody's going to be good. And really, to that point, that's another reason we're at a disadvantage, because they are definitely willing to impose their values on us.
Good neighbors, Robert. Frost. Exactly. And that's the individualism, I think, is really the strength of what I call the American spirit, the American attitude. It's it's like, hey man, I can do it, and I can help you do it. Let's do this thing, right? It's
well,
go ahead.
You're exactly right. That is the attitude that led to one of the greatest civilizations that has done the most to bring up everybody out of poverty, to make things more equal in the sense of liberal equality under the law for all groups of people. I mean, it goes back to that rhetorical question. We have a group of people, the critical theorists, that are trying to convince us America is a racist hellhole, and then the elites are capitalizing on that and like, yes, America is a racist hellhole, therefore give us a ton of power. Meanwhile, like, there's no other country in the world, minorities, people from Africa, South America, even parts of East Asia, like, they're all trying to get into this country.
Okay, but I'm gonna history nerd out on you, and I'm gonna say it was the Enlightenment that created the ideas that we have today. It was a specific group of people in a specific group of countries that had just gone through some really amazing hardships themselves.
Absolutely.
And
they just happen to be all white Western countries.
They weren't.
Where these ideas came out of.
They weren't. If you call Spain white, I'm going to laugh in your face.
All right. Okay. Like,
if you call Greece white, I'm going to laugh in your face.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. I'm not gonna call them white. They're people.
European.
Yeah, I'm saying the people that write shit like post-colonial theory, which we went over briefly last week, or post-colonial theory and colonial theory, decolonization, all that nonsense. They're gonna call them all white.
Oh my God!
They're
Did you
gonna
guys
lump
see
them all
what the
into the same
cut
group.
did this week? Did you guys see what the cut did this week?
I think I know what you're talking
and
about.
Cog and like 6 or 7 other people were talking about it. They asked 100 black people, and only like 15 or so of them would say nasty things about white people. And the question was, what do you think white people are superior at? And it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like every bad post you've seen on Twitter, like they look exactly how you imagine them to look.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So they asked 100 people, but the video just
Only
highlighted the
showed
15 that had nothing good to say.
Yeah, like 15. Yeah. It was really cringe.
I don't even know what you're talking about, to be fair.
Yeah,
It's
there's
a
a video.
shit
You
video.
can actually probably just look up on YouTube if you want to pull it up. I think it's worth watching. It's not very long, is it?
No.
You just have to search what are white people superior about, and it's gonna come up on YouTube.
It was so fucking cringe, dude. It was so fucking cringe. I was just like, really? But it was really sad because everybody they were exactly as you imagined Blacktivist Twitter to look like. It was bad, guys.
Imagine
so
asking that question. It's one of those things.
Well, it's
like,
interesting because
replace
this
the
will
word.
dovetail with what Beck and I'll be doing on Monday. So this is kind of cool. All right. So what are white people better at?
Superior at.
Superior at.
Right.
That's actually that's the title. What are white people superior at? It's from The Cut. They have like 10 million.
Yeah.
We're really good at laying back and having fun because that's white privilege.
Yeah. Because we're all so the same.
Yeah. Stress. Don't have it. Don't have it. No stress here, guys.
Colonizing countries.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 20 years ago, everybody would agree that video was incredibly racist. Unfortunately, we've redefined racism. We've said this before. That, like, racism can only exist whenever the group that has power is oppressing the group that doesn't have power.
No, actually,
punching up is not racism under the critical framework.
Yeah, but no, if you want to know what most of the silent majority is doing is, that was funny. You guys are so retarded. That was so funny. Do you know how bad you look right now? If you walked down the street when I was 15, dude, you guys would fall over dead. Because it was like, like they smell funky and all these kinds of like really retarded childish things. And if you're a Gen Xer, you're looking at that going, sorry, my husband just went outside. If you're a Gen Xer and you're looking at that, you'll see that, or you'll remember being a kid and the games we used to play with each other on how we would try to offend each other. It was sport to try to piss each other off, and it was hard.
Yeah,
Really, really common.
I
This
agree.
you guys are so funny. Sorry.
All right, so all right,
We grew up under the premise that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words could never hurt you.
well, we got it up. So let's see.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
get
found
to
it?
y'all.
Yeah, sure. Let's give it a watch.
I done got
Oh,
it,
God.
man. I'm quick,
Oh,
ain't
God.
I? Just ask
This
Uzi. All right.
But
Yeah, I know it's pretty bad. It was. I must say.
it was okay.
Oh, here we
Dad
go.
jokes are
Blue
allowed.
pill for.
Mm.
Oh no, this was hilarious to me, guys. I was laughing. This one's
All right.
real funny.
All right, y'all can see this now.
Yeah.
All right, I got it maxed out volume wise, so here it comes. All right, people, get ready. We're gonna find out what white people are superior at. I think.
No,
What exactly are white people superior
it's muted
at?
though.
Oh, well, according to television,
Yeah.
everything. A white man could fly. Even a white woman, she could be 4'1".
Right.
She knew karate. She could take.
What?
It's muted on our end.
Like this, it looks muted to us, and it's not playing or nothing.
Nothing is playing and is muted.
I've got it paused.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well then play it and unmute it.
Wait.
I've got it open. The audio should be coming through.
It is
Not.
not.
Well,
Shit's
not-
broke.
all right, let's see.
I'll let Irene fix that, and
Listen.
I'll shut up whenever it starts.
Listen.
And we start hearing stuff.
Oh no, the first lady's actually funny, and if you take her seriously, that's on you.
Okay, listen to this.
What exactly are white people superior
Y'all hear that?
No.
Nope.
I don't know what's wrong. Let's try this again. Oh,
I just say we do an experiment and make the same video with us talking about what black people are superior about, and then see how long it takes before Irate's banned from YouTube for life.
Okay. So if you guys haven't seen it, Barricade Garage is a great YouTube channel. He's a black mechanic. And he has these little short, like 1.5 to 2, maybe 3-minute videos. And they're really good. They're really funny. And he has one where they're talking about how white people, like, they can't talk to white people anymore, and they're like bad and they have to segregate and everything. And he goes,
Here it comes.
wait, what? But white people have such good customer service.
All right, tell me now. All right, can you hear it?
What exactly are white people
Yes.
All right,
Yes,
good.
I did
All
hear
right,
a thing.
all right, I'm good. All right, now we're going.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Oh, well, according to television, everything. A white man could fly. Even a white woman, she could be 4'1". She knew karate. She could take down 15 people.
Okay.
What are white people superior at?
Man.
Oh, God.
What are white people superior at?
They just keep
Oh my god, I was
mostly
laughing
about
just
their
the way
pets.
she looked.
White people love their dogs. Like, that's all you see. Cats, letting them get on your countertops while you're cooking. Yes. I get that you love your pet,
Okay,
but like
that's
you need to take
disgusting.
it everywhere.
It
like
is.
everywhere.
She's got a point. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
disgusting. If you let your
It's
cats
like-
on your countertops, especially while you're cooking, that's on you. That's gross, and I don't appreciate
It
it.
is gross. It is.
I think it's nasty because I'm kind of a germaphobe.
I don't think. I think maybe It's not all white
Sorry.
people, right? Not all.
I guess, you know, hey, emotional support animals, I guess.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Fuck, man, like making cereal.
Casseroles.
What kind of casserole?
Making cereal.
It's always tuna. What do you mean? It's always tuna.
Using mayonnaise in a lot of their recipes.
Making bland food.
Unseasoned chicken.
How are you gonna start whole spice wars and don't even use seasoning on your food? I mean, come on.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Smelling funky. Santa Claus.
Extreme water sports.
Corn mazes.
White people
Hey
are
man,
great
you can't
at
blame us all
having
for
fun.
patchouli.
That's a function of white supremacy because they just don't have as many stresses as we do.
White people are very superior at their privilege and utilizing it. We do not have the privilege to do whatever and however we want to.
But he does at the glory hole, though. Just
Oh
saying.
my god. Oh, that was just your pause game is on point, Irate.
Oh, yeah.
I like how he was able to throw that one out there, which was one of the only serious answers we heard.
What about this guy? He's wearing an Angela Davis t-shirt.
There's any body of work to prove that that's true.
You know Angela
Other
Davis
than
is.
the anecdotal bullshit of lived experience
Oh.
that...
Shit. I've been talking and y'all can't hear me. Uh-oh.
You're muted.
Yes, ma'am.
Irate muted himself.
Yeah, but I haven't been muted to the folks. So everybody watching the show, yeah, man. All right, so look at this dude's shirt. It says Angela. You know who Angela Davis was, right?
No.
She killed people.
She
She's
was
part
a
of Black
cop
Panther.
killer. Yeah, she was a cop killer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe she's living in Cuba now.
No, Obama pardoned
No, he
her.
pardoned her. You're right. That is absolutely right.
Oh, yeah, now I remember.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see
One
what
of
he
the
has.
liberation theology things that predated Black Lives Matter, but have a lot in common. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but all right. So that woman or that dude said that like white people know how to have fun with no stress and everything. If that was true, why do so many white guys have gray hair before black guys?
Genetics?
Yeah, sure. No, like the whole thing is it's amazing that they can get away with like talking about white people as if we're some sort of monolithic group.
I know.
Right, like I get it. Like this is one thing that critical race theorists hate when you do it, right? Because it's almost like we're siding with Marxists. But most of these issues have nothing to do with being black or white in America these days.
Dude, poor.
It has everything to do with were you raised with money or not?
And hell, even that doesn't
Exactly.
matter. It's were you raised with intention or not? If you want to get down to brass tacks, were you raised with intention? Did you have attentive parents? Was there a meaning or a goal to you being raised? Because I can tell you as a parent today, it's not my goal is not to have good kids. My goal is to raise good adults.
Yeah, so that's the answer to getting outcomes to align. But what I'm trying to explain is the difficulties people have. And yes, that's one of the that is a difficulty, but it boils down to money in a lot of these circumstances, right? Like if you have money, you're going to get away with a lot more shit than if you don't have money. We know that's true. I don't like that. I rail against that shit all the time, and maybe not on these streams, but I think it's bullshit. I think it needs to be fixed, and I think we can. Well, I think we can start working on that without having to bring race into the picture.
Well, I mean, I guess you could make like some sort of social thing if you have good standing and you have money, it's more socially unacceptable to commit crime. I guess we could create a social thing like that. It would be a lot more like Japan. However, the function of having more access to more money means that you will be able to pay for things you do wrong, that you break and stuff more readily than the person who has less. So I don't know how you fix it entirely.
Yeah, the biggest example I have on this is you look at all the crime statistics, and like black people just are overwhelmingly more criminal. And then they get arrested for nonviolent drug charges way more than white people. Even though the response surveys show that the usage is the same between groups. Now, that's not necessarily true, actually, because these are response surveys. And people that are criminal, and black people are more likely to be criminal outside of just drug offenses, are more likely to lie on response surveys than other people. So the only way to really measure it would be to survey the people and then have a concurrency test to see. It might just be the case that more black people are willing to lie about whether or not they use drugs. But another issue is that white people, on average, right, they have more money, right, which means they have better legal representation. And if you have better legal representation for a nonviolent drug offense, you're more likely to get it stricken or taken out than if you don't. But that is a feature of money.
Yeah, but you got to
right?
pay for that, right? Exactly. That's the point of that shit, though.
Well, and I get it that, like,
but they all do
pro
bono
there's a
shit.
disparity in outcomes between the two groups,
right?
But the disparity is not because of race; it is because of money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, money and parenting.
Yeah,
I mean, that's where
like I
I'm
said,
at, is the parenting. Why don't you just raise your kids not to commit crimes, and then you won't have to worry about having the money to get good representation for you in court to defend your stupidity.
Exactly.
Why don't we start there? It starts in the home.
and
Raise your
what-
kids
that's-
not to
that's
commit
what-
crime.
That's what conservative. That's actually the conservative black response to this, right?
Yeah.
If it's rigged against you because you don't have any money, don't play their game, right?
Right.
That's what they say. Like they're not just like, let's just ignore the fact that you know they don't have money for legal representation and yet they're still getting caught with drugs. They're saying overcome it. Just stop getting caught with drugs. Stop doing it.
Well,
I mean, that seems okay. I'm very openly conservative, so it seems pretty common sense to me. Don't commit crime. You won't have to deal with the disparities of the money issue. Why don't you just try your damnedest to be a damn good person and follow the laws? And if you don't like the laws, then vote correctly.
Yeah. There's ways to change them.
Yes.
That's a different story. Let's
But I agree. It has to be it has to start in the home. Like, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world is not just a nifty old wives saying. It is a truth. Like can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Right.
I forget what they're called. There's a moniker
Idiom?
for those. An idiom. Thank you, Irene. Thank you. It's an idiom, and it's like a time-tested thing. Being a parent is really fucking important, and if you're gonna do the job, fucking do the job.
Because like it or not, it is a job. You know.
Yeah.
Parenting has definitely changed. Like there's a shift from, you know, procreating and then raising these little human beings to be functioning fucking adults in our society, right?
Yeah.
So now it's, oh, well, I don't know. In my generation, it was children are the future, which isn't entirely wrong if you raise them right. But now parents are, oh, well, I have to consider their feelings and I have to be their best friend and I don't want them to be mad at me, which is all, in my opinion, complete bullshit. And it's not parenting.
It's not parenting.
And they get the same treatment in their 9 hours a day of being locked in a government institution.
Correct.
For 12 years.
Participation trophies.
Well,
Or one and all.
I think Starship Troopers, the book, needs to be mandatory reading for everyone in public school. Period.
What about
never read it.
What are you talking about? You can't even read Huck Finn anymore in California.
I don't.
I'm sorry. It's funny, but it's not. But
That's why I moved.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. You can't
moved
read.
and now you're in Oregon.
I know.
You
can't read.
Right now it's curfew in California, most of California.
Yep. Yeah. You can't read Huck Finn, but you can definitely send your child off to public school in California, and they can learn the safe way of masturbation.
Right, or you can give them HIV without telling them first.
So
yeah.
The worst fucking part about them saying that like Huck Finn is no longer going to be part of our reading list, nor will it be in our public school libraries, is that their only complaint is that Huck Finn actually used language that would not be acceptable today. It was written, but it was written at a time where
language, right.
that would have been that was an incredibly progressive book at the time it was written.
The language was toned down.
Exactly.
For the time, yeah.
Mr. Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain, like he wrote that book in a way that was very reflective of liberal humanism, right? Huck Finn befriended a black guy, right? They became real friends, and that was a big deal.
And they had to fight Injun Joe.
Yeah, it's insane how you look at a book like that. That
so racially insensitive.
if you were alive at the
Come
time
on,
that book was
Excel,
written,
for fuck's sake. I mean, really, what are you talking about?
yeah, I'll let you guys go on. I don't know.
No, dude.
I'm mad as hell.
I'm not gonna take it anymore, motherfucker. That's right.
Read Huck Finn. It's a good book.
Let's do this. All right. So
Read
what?
Starship Troopers and don't be a delinquent
What
adult.
are white people
Sorry.
superior at?
Oh, this is hilarious, y'all. Let's laugh some more.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Not getting arrested.
You know, I was driving down the street, down the highway with a friend of mine who was white, and he was like,
We're a lot
I'm
better
just
than
going to
black
pull
people
over.
at that.
And I'm in the passenger seat. And I was like, please don't, because a black man thinks differently. If I pull over to the side of the road and pee, a cop is going to be right behind me to punish me.
What exactly?
No, he's just gonna be there to arrest you because you got a bigger pee-pee.
It depends on where you live, I'm sure, right?
Right.
It does.
And it has to do with the cop culture. I see. Each precinct has its own kind of personality, man. And there is.
Well, in some places it's not illegal to urinate off the side of the road.
Yeah.
So.
Right, and some of them I would say are sick. Right,
Yeah.
There are some fucked up sick precincts where there's heavy grift and heavy abuse of power.
Yeah, that power goes straight to their heads.
Oh boy.
Straight to their heads. So
I totally sympathize with the guy, though. It's
I
to
would
live
just be
that
more
way.
concerned about, I really don't want this to go viral with me sitting in the passenger seat and you pissing on the side of the road.
no doubt.
That would be my thought. It wouldn't be, oh God, we're going to get arrested. So, I don't know.
Oh, she's wearing a top.
Fear. Being fearful of nothing. Being ignorant.
Blame.
Letting their egos control their every move.
Privilege.
Feeling victimized.
Playing the victim.
Congratulating themselves over shit that they're incompetent at or that should have already been done.
They're superior at being dicks.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Oppression.
Gaslighting.
Lack of empathy.
Intellectualizing oppression.
Did I say oppression?
They're just creatively thinking of new ways of always staying one step ahead of other people. We get rid of slave catchers, then let's just expand the police force. That stuff to me is wild.
What exactly
I'm fucking insulted, man. Wow.
are white people superior at?
Making us believe that we don't matter.
Believing that they're superior.
Feeling superior.
Thinking they're superior.
Oh my
Thinking
God.
that they're superior.
Thinking that they are superior.
Self-delusion.
Controlling the narrative.
Believing their own press.
Marketing of white superiority.
Whether you are Republican, whether you're Democrat,
This
whether
one
you're
fucked me
conservative,
up.
white people are really good at upholding white supremacy.
How about claiming that, they are actually a whole separate race, when actually white DNA comes from the black female?
So what exactly are white people?
Honey, lying, stealing, and cheating.
Manipulation. Withholding information.
Lying?
Telling lies.
What
kind of lies?
Look like
The lies of history. They say that history is written by the victor, but the victor could be replaced by the colonizer.
What are white people superior at?
Colonial theory.
These
there
people
it
have
is.
already been hacked by socialism.
Okay, now do they all look like exactly you imagine them to look like after seeing their tweets?
Oh, I worked with these motherfuckers at Charter for Charter Cable, answering phone calls. I mean, these are the people I worked with.
Yeah,
and some of them were. I'm like, oh my God. But
I have multiple black friends that they say some of this shit, but they're smart people, so they question some of it too. And like, I just try to nudge them along a little bit, just like, think a little bit more critically about this. Don't be like critical theory, just think critically.
Of history. The lies of history. You start using words like the lies of history, I'm gonna start laughing, because that's like Gallagher level, like, go smash a watermelon, dude. That's just...
Well, the true history is written in the 1619 Project.
That's right.
Imperialism.
Colonizing.
Colonialism.
Colonization. They might be better at that than us and everybody else, really.
They ballsy. They rose up all over the world, and they walk into everybody's house and says, "Oh, this is nice. I'm gonna take your shit," and they have no qualms about it. They can take anything, baby.
Yeah, that's us.
That's right. We street.
That.
we street.
Hey, you got pause game is on point again, my brother.
We's the street honkies. All right, just saying. I don't know.
I'm gonna take all your shit.
White people superior.
They're real good at violence.
Genocide.
It's like stealing people's lives just because they feel like it. If you are white and you know this is happening and you say nothing, then you're a killer too. You are adopting a whole philosophy that says it's okay to do this, and part of that philosophy allows you to be ignorant, right? And they're like, "Oh, I didn't know."
So even if you have subjective, experience that proves the negative, you still have to go along with that narrative, or else, you know, if you deny what he's saying, then you're a racist.
Yep.
Right? Which is total bullshit. You know, it's the gotcha game. And you know, it's interesting. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna say that.
Oh.
What exactly are white people superior at?
Taking what's not there. Taking shit.
Taking our ideas.
Copycatting.
Gentrification.
Appropriating things that do not belong to them.
Taking over other people's cultures and making you believe that they invented it.
Maybe they're thinking of it as repurposing. It's like recycle and repurpose.
As my grandma would say, the white folk, they'll take it if you don't copyright it.
They are very good at destruction of land, destruction of people, destruction of humanness.
What exactly
Holy
are
shit,
people
white
superior
people
at?
are Jews
White
for
people
black
are not
people.
superior with anything.
At least for these black
Nothing.
people.
Nothing.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
Well,
I don't believe that they're superior
Nothing is a
anyway,
good
shape, or
answer.
form.
Just
Nothing's
because our
acceptable.
skin
Thank you.
color is different, you're no better than me, you're no smarter than me. No, no superiority there.
Yeah. Well, I might be smarter than you specifically, but it has nothing to do with your skin color.
No. But, yeah.
It's
So
good-
I
it's
just
like-
laughed.
I just have to reiterate an amazing quote by Thomas Sowell, and I might not have this exact, but nobody is equal to anybody else, not even the same person, depending on like the day, right? I'm not even equal to myself maybe 3 days ago. That's just how it is. That's how the reality of people work.
I'm comparable to myself from 3 days ago because it's still myself.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you have days where you excel at things, you have days where you shit the brick, right? So
Yeah.
even day to day from the same individual, you're not going to see perfect equality.
There's no such thing.
No.
Like, there's no such thing. Okay, so, like, people love to talk about science and all this. You hear the science and, you know, listen to the experts and stuff. But you got to... Oh, I bet AP had some fucking amazing retorts to that video, Darkstar. I bet that was... I'll have to go look and see if I can find that on BitChute. I totally forgot what I was saying. Never mind, people. Sorry. I got distracted by thinking about what AP would say to that video, and I'm sure it would make me laugh as hard as watching them do it myself. I was like, smelling funky. I'm like, hey now, essential oils like patchouli, which actually is from Asia, you can't blame white people for. So, huh.
Yeah, AP instinctively has, I mean, like, the hilarious retorts to, like, everything he's like, a lot of the shit he makes fun of when it comes to this is critical theory nonsense, right? And I don't think he knows that, Doesn't really matter. He has a.
I think he does.
Well, I think he maybe at a superficial level. He's not one of those people that get real deep into the ideas in the background behind it.
I don't think
what
he gives a shit
we're
about
trying to
how
do.
deep it goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think but no, his intuitions are incredibly strong,
Yeah.
and he's also super witty. Him and Ghastly and all those people, goddamn, just their wit is incredible. I wish I had that kind of talent to be witty and funny while we're streaming. We'd probably have about 80 more views at least if I was.
Well,
I'm just too analytical in my thought process. I'm not that funny. I'm sorry.
well, I could have quipped to all of it. It was the talking about their dogs. Well, yeah. Because we spend time with our dogs. Duh. We don't just put them in the front yard. Have you ever seen pit bulls and parolees? Oh my God. Stop it. There's all kinds of great, stupid retorts you can have to these. That's not necessarily the point.
The worst part is nothing they said about white people being superior. Some of them weren't even superior. They were just saying, "Oh, well, there's this trait that white people have, and they're, I guess, better at it than black people." As if I've never met a black dude that was really, really close with their dogs.
Yeah.
In fact, I know a lot of them.
Yeah.
Especially in the hood, right?
Yeah.
Because they had German Shepherds and Pit Bulls, and the reason they had them is because they lived in the hood.
Yeah. But it's just...
Well, usually pits are raised for fighting, and batting and shit. Which may be illegal. I don't know.
It may be. Getting pits to fight is so hard, though. It takes a lot of work to make a pit mean.
I got family that do that for a living.
Oh, Lord, I can't handle it.
Yeah, even I have to say, this is a total tangent, but the Michael Vick thing and the dog fighting, part of me was just kind of they're fucking animals. We use animals for whatever we want all the time, right? We don't exactly treat cows and mass farms very well, and I don't give a shit. At the same time, I understand why people are God, this is so bad. And it's you were talking about it on the Gulf City stream, about how we deal with animals and how we just kind of have this natural thing to domesticated animals, right? These animals that have been our friends for generations or at millennium now. It's just distasteful. So I don't know. I go back and forth. Where it's Michael Vick is not the most evil fucking person ever for getting into dog fights, right? He just values the life of dogs the way we value the life of cows. At the same time, how can you value the life of dogs so low?
I actually value the life of the cow that I eat, though. I think it's because I've raised my own food.
Yeah.
I am far more conscious of the process and that entire cycle because of it. And maybe it's just because I had a really good philosophy teacher that made me own everything, and he was just fucking amazing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm with Stan Olch on this. I worship cows with my stomach.
yeah. Yeah. I will say that I find lamb to be a superior meat, but it's $13 a pound, so...
Yeah, tastes weird.
You don't need that much,
many
pounds of lamb, though, to make a good gyro. There's a lot of flavor to lamb, so, you slice that thin, you don't gotta eat a lot of it to get your value out of it.
If you're just thinking of gyros, you're really depriving yourself. Lamb is amazing. You put it...
I've had lamb chops.
Good Lord. But I don't know. I know a lot of people with corporate farming and stuff like that, they really have kind of disconnected. But I see what you're saying, and I think it's because we intuitively found them to be helpful in nature, and they are not that big a threat to us overall. Moose is not bad, Stan. I will say that is a decent meat. It's a little gamey, but it's not bad.
Oh, I see the graphic you have up right now.
Oh.
Not anymore.
There's some backstory behind this. So what you're looking at is ICU capacity by state. Oh, you took it off.
It's back. I've got it back up.
And these were the healthcare.gov numbers. I think I pulled it on like 11. I think it was like 11:15 or something like that. So not that long ago.
Right.
And this was in response. I actually I talked about this the other day, and people made fun of me, but I was actually defending Antoine, who was saying, stop buying into this bullshit, right? Like, this is just a method to control people. COVID-19, whatever it is, like, we don't need to fucking lock anything down. And somebody replied back and said, well, articles about healthcare worker explains how they're so overworked and how COVID-19 is getting really bad. So I posted the ICU capacity by state, and some of them are pretty up there, right? I think Mississippi was one of the worst. They're at 87% capacity. That's pretty fucking high.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that most of these ICUs, and I got this actually from articles from hospital directors saying, please don't implement these restrictions again. Right? Like, we barely had, like, we were losing money the entire time. You were trying to make sure we had room because we had to cancel so many elective surgeries, and our ICU beds never filled up. It never happened.
Actually lost her job because she was determined non-essential medical.
Pinoy throws us $5 and says, my family tree consists of drug dealers, things, and killers known to hustle, screaming fuck they feelings. Oh, fuck they feelings. I got advice from my father. All he told me was get off your ass if you plan on being rich.
Love you, Tom Pease.
Yep.
Anyway, so I posted this just to give people like a graphic overview, and this is going from, I think, 60% to 100. I wasn't trying to do that to be deceptive. It's just that if you did it at the 100%, it would be hard to really see the difference between states, right? If you go to the comment, like what the guy said, right? His response to this graphic, and I'm gonna explain how this relates to these people have obviously accepted a lot of premises of critical theory, even if they don't know they accepted premises of critical theory.
Right.
Can you bring the comment up?
Oh, which one?
It was the one I posted right after this, where I said the person responded back about.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me grab it. Keep talking. Not gonna mind doing this thing.
Yeah. So he's gonna bring the comment up, but it was basically like, oh, so you crunch the numbers and you think that you know more than the actual healthcare workers that are on the ground. And I was like, yes, I trust the objective data about ICU capacity more than I trust the anecdotes of some random healthcare worker somewhere. And it just made me think, like, what that guy is doing is he is prioritizing this idea of lived experience over what the data actually shows. And if that's not postmodern bullshit, I don't know what is.
Well, you want to know the real reason why a lot of hospitals are coming at capacity? It's not because of the numbers of people in. It's because they've set up bizarre isolation systems for these people. And if anybody in a certain team tests positive for COVID, the entire team has to go on 2-week quarantine.
RERUNS has a hot take and theory about this, okay? Because I've worked in the healthcare business for quite a while. November and December, you see an upsurge in procedures because people maxing out their benefits. That's usually when doctors will do surgeries because, around the year, surgical situations pop up and down. So, they push for this time of year because they know people have got benefits to max out, and that's what they do.
Bingo.
I mean, they even have TV commercials about it.
Yeah.
Don't lose your benefits. Max them out now. Like,
right.
Yeah, hospitals are businesses, and they forecast to have just a certain amount of beds available, and they understand seasonal spikes.
Right.
Right. It would cost them money to make a whole bunch of beds extra that they would never project to have. Now, I get it. Something like COVID could increase the capacity, but they usually do have overflow of like I said, about 20%.
My dad is 81, and he went to the ER last weekend, and now he's in the regular hospital, and it's not COVID related at all. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So think of the odds of that.
Yeah, and especially if they go back to lockdowns and canceling all the elective surgeries.
Yeah. See,
or even elective scanning. Like, those things actually cost lives.
Man, my cataracts are starting to get bad. I've got to call. My sister told me to call the doctor and go see him like this week. Because I'm starting to see fuzzy shit. I'm just sitting over here just dying, you know.
Yeah, my mom works with cancer patients. She's a medical transcriptionist. As soon as all these lockdowns started happening, they immediately closed out all the doctors that she works for. And I was asking her, I was like, what are these patients going to do? Because they're coming in for treatment, they're coming in for diagnosis and all this stuff, but what are they going to do if you guys are closed? And she's like, they're going to die. And it was a couple months in, and her doctors were calling and saying, yeah, we lost this patient, we lost this one. It's because they shut everything down for a big COVID rush, and it didn't happen. Not in the areas that these doctors are at.
At the end of the year, like when the final numbers are published, I'm sure that there's going to be reports from news outlets that are going to massage this, but I guarantee if we look at the raw data, the excess mortality rate in America is actually probably going to be under what it would have been normal. Because we scared people into just doing their day-to-day things, things that humans do. We scared them into not doing it.
Right, like driving.
All of those things have a certain amount of risk.
Dude, you're reading my mind. It's like driving is one of the most dangerous things we can do. Yeah. Right? And so if you're on the lockdown, you don't drive as much. Therefore, you've got a higher improbability that you're going to die in a car wreck, right?
Okay, yes. However, drug overdoses and suicides have skyrocketed. I think they may actually exceed what our excessive death numbers were.
Right, I'm just saying, you know, everything's relative, right, when it comes to the medical shit. You know,
the best way to explain this, I just gave you a video. The best way to explain why it's ridiculous. Where did you give me a video? In
the back door?
Yeah, I just sent it to you in our group thing.
I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, the best way to explain it is with this video, right? If you live in a free society, you're gonna take the risk of death. There's every measure that tries to increase safety is going to restrict liberty, period. And I'm not going to condemn people who think that their liberty is more important than the 0.03% of people that if they contract this, they might die, right? Like the people that are high risk, they should take the measures they need to take to protect themselves.
Right.
But the people that aren't, like that is not a good excuse for us to say we need to restrict the liberty of every citizen to protect a smaller group of people.
Senate Republicans are paying.
And it reminds me of helicopter moms. It's like they protect their kids so much that they have no freedom to learn anything. And then they grow up to be these little freakish adults. I don't know. I always equate everything to
and I want to take it back to these these people that like it's the fucking like we call them Karens that will yell at you because you don't have a fucking mask on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all of this fear mongering, all these tactics, it goes hand in hand where they're just trying to get us used to authoritarianism. They're trying to get us to be like, yes, government, come save us.
Incrementally,
it's
right?
so
Submit,
anti-American.
Yes.
And they're using us to do it. They're not out there doing it. They feed us little bits and pieces of fear porn is what I call it, but little twisted stats. And then you got the Karens, and I call them Chads, out here, and they're the ones that are enforcing it upon the rest of us. If we step out of line, oh my gosh, no mask, they're gonna shame us into it. And then what do we do? Oh well, it's just easier to comply than to deal with this bullshit every time I go out in public.
If they had a death counter on TV and it was 24/7 coverage of the number of people dying from heart disease, how long before everybody accepted bans on fatty foods?
I don't think it would be too long.
Yep, I'm pretty sure they can condition the public to accept bans on things we can eat.
All right, I got the thing loaded up. Oh, my bad. I didn't load the screen up, did I? Let's do that, all right?
Yeah, let's watch this, because if you've never seen this before, it's fucking hilarious, and it's from Reason.tv, so worst case scenario, you might get a monetization claim and you won't make the 70 cents that this stream is going to give to you.
Oh, Lordy Lord. All right, let's roll.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. Yeah.
Cuts are blood money. People will die. Let's be very clear. Senate Republicans are paying for tax cuts for the wealthy with American lives.
People need kidneys, it's sad but decreed, yet the senator's hoarding one more than she needs. I offer this bill and I hope you'll vote aye, unless of course you just want people to die. Traffic deaths have many crying with fear, over 30,000 people are dying each year. This modest change I propose must be applied, unless of course you just want people to die. Alcohol deaths are exceeding comparisons, black people, white people, Native Americans. We need to ban alcohol, it can't be denied, unless of course you just want people to die. Murders are bad, they have no defenders, yet many are committed by repeat offenders. I say lifetime in prison, whatever the crime, unless of course you just want people to die. I don't have a bill or a groan to detail, I just need a short clip for my donor email. Tim, there's blood on your hands, you want people to die. That good? Cool. Tim, dinner at 5? Yeah. The car deaths I mentioned are terrible stuff. Doesn't seem one seatbelt is ever enough. You must vote for my act so that fewer will cry, unless of course you just want people to die. The carbs, the container, we cannot ignore. Whipped cream's killing more people than ever before. This bill would be passed and be ratified if those people that didn't want people to die. Why not weigh all the costs, the effects, the results, empathize with each other as if we were adults, use our brains to craft arguments, not vilify, see that freedom's a trade-off. You want people to die! I tried. Crossing the street is incredibly tough. People look left and right, but rarely look up. My bill would mandate.
I like Remy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that explains our current situation perfectly.
Yeah.
In fact, almost every time I'm on Twitter and somebody makes like some radical post about how, oh God, all these anti-lockdown people just want people to die, I post this video. I also will post it ironically to people that are also that are actually anti-lockdown, and just be like, "Oh my God, you just want people to die," and then I'll post it because it provides, in the humor, it provides very important context to what we're actually dealing with. Hey,
my goodness, I'm glad that was shared. I haven't seen that one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I had to mute myself because I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is today."
Yes, yeah. Keep that like on your like fast list of responses to people whenever they say stuff about COVID-19 lockdowns and shit like that.
Yeah,
because it works both ways.
Yeah.
You can ironically tell people that are anti-lockdown, they just want people to die. And you can unironically share this to people and make fun of them because they're accusing other people of just wanting people to die. I was like, what's the next step? Where else are we going to go? 5 mile per hour speed limits? Makes sense. It would save a shit ton of lives. It would.
Yeah, but it would take a long time to get anywhere.
I mean, rush hour downtown.
What are you talking
Houston.
about? That amount of time is nothing to the person that died. That's their whole life.
Oh my gosh.
They're dead, they don't care.
Yeah, you just want people to die, Timma.
Yes.
Just unabashedly, yes. I want people to die. Might be a good thing. Actually, it's a pretty
penalty.
No,
Actually,
it's like it's on all of our to-do lists.
Yeah, funny enough, we're just like, we should just be like, we shouldn't
die.
do any lockdowns. Like, yeah, people are gonna die, but just think about how well it's like, how much it's gonna help the environment in the long run.
But the environment doesn't need help. It does whatever it's going to do regardless of what we do.
Look, stop trying to bring rational arguments and start, what is it, the Sal Alinsky principle? Hold the opposition to their own standards, right? Their own rules. Just be like, look, COVID-19 is going to kill a bunch of people, which is going to eliminate their carbon footprint, which is going to be beneficial to the environment in the long run.
Right.
Well, that's
COVID
not
will
gonna
do
work.
more than any amount of abortions could do.
I think
just let it happen.
All right, who was it that we're talking about? That they were talking about the army. It's like people have no idea of really how the world really works, right? It's like all they've got is their own, their own individual experience and all the world around them, right? And that's their world. How can a person not understand the size? Oh, it was Lacey Green. She was talking about the military is not needing as many manly men as before because of technology and stuff. And my whole thing was, it's like, are you sure you really understand how big the fucking military actually is and what it takes to make, it's like you need mechanics for everything. It's like people don't realize, that for every airplane you see, there's a crew of 30 people that work on that thing and deal with it. It's like all the personnel is ridiculous, man. How that is the whole logistics, right? So that's kind of where I was going with that. So I'm done talking about that now.
Real quick, I want to say the conversations going on in our chat right now are really fucking awesome. Of course, donating to Irate is the best way to make sure that your comment gets highlighted. But if there's something you want us to address on stream, and I've said this a million times before, just at me or at somebody that's in the stream. That way it highlights it in orange, and I actually know to pay attention to it.
9 out of 10 doctors recommend breathing. And you know what? Oxygen is the leading cause of death.
It is.
Just saying.
Everybody has oxygen in their bodies when they die.
Exactly.
That reminds me, there's a John LaJoie. I don't know if you remember that dude. He's from he was in the League, the FX show about fantasy football, but he also he did that song, "Have You Ever Been High as Fuck?" he does a little infomercial about he does a little infomercial about breathing. He's like, it turns out breathing is proved to improve life expectancy by 100%.
Yes, and dihydrogen monoxide. We got to ban it. It's killed more people than you. I mean, it's everywhere. It's probably in you right now.
Mr. Cummins, like 9 out of 10 doctors recommend breathing.
Exactly.
But it's. Do you remember when that was used? The dihydrogen oxide.
Yeah, monoxide.
Monoxide. Do you remember when that was used?
Yeah, it was.
In school, our teachers used it. Like I remember my English.
Oh
teacher used
yeah,
it
man, mine
for
did too.
persuasive argument
Absolutely,
and shit.
you're right.
So why is it the only time we hear people using this or building persuasive arguments now is on fucking YouTube political commentary? It's not in our schools.
You got a lot of autodidacts going on with that too,
Do I?
right? Well, no, I'm saying a lot of people on YouTube tend to be autodidact.
What does that mean?
Self-learned people.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, who wants to try to learn in the modern school system? There's no learning.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, that's something that actually bothered me back in 2008 when I actually started becoming politically awakened and like started reading books about shit. And then I would make posts on Facebook to my Facebook friends, right? And this was in 2008 before things got super toxic. And I was just trying to make the case against Barack Obama. And it's like, he's not going to be the person you think he is. Like, and this is the information as to why I believe that. And a lot of them were like, oh man, Bush was so bad. You fucking idiot. Go back to school, Excel. They say my real name. Right? And like one of my predictions is like, I'm gonna guess 2 years from now, we're gonna have more troops overseas than ever. We're gonna have more foreign, just go on and go on. The economy is gonna be even fucking worse. We're gonna be even more than dead. And I was right. I was 100% correct.
I was not prepared for the socio-political strike. I was not prepared for the open attack on the right. I was not prepared. That did catch me off guard.
that didn't happen until after 2012.
No, that started happening in 2009 with the Tea Party.
Tea Party.
It was right away. By 2010...
You're right. My issue...
2011, I had to verify to 3 different government agents that I was not, in fact, a domestic terrorist, so my son could get his top secret clearance for the military.
Yeah, my issue with that is the whole Tea Party movement got hijacked by what I would call the establishment. I thought at the time the Republicans and Democrats were still playing nice.
Yeah.
And in 2016, they would have kept playing nice, even if a Republican won that wasn't Donald Trump. But Donald Trump won, and it broke. I don't want to say it broke everything. It broke the facade. And it became very obvious to a lot of people what was really going on.
Yeah, it's like plugging like alien code into it, you know? It's like they're just freaking out. They don't know how to react to it.
Yeah, and that's why we haven't even talked about election fraud yet.
You ever see that movie, The Thing, where Kurt Russell's like checking to see who's, he's got all the little dishes of blood, and he's like heating up the wire and touching it in there, and then that one where you're like, what? Jumps, it just yeah, exactly. It's like that, man.
Well, you're prepared for the scare, but it still scares you?
It's more like how do I say it, man? It's like the rejection. All right, the whole Trump thing, the whole TDS, is almost like a visceral reaction on a molecular level to these people. I'm serious, man. I really think that there's some type of mental illness going on here that is, that gets triggered.
It's effective CIA programming.
Yeah, it is PSYOP City.
Well, I look at TDS as more of something that they injected into the useful idiots, right? The people at the very top know that Donald Trump, Hillary, the Brennan letter, right, that got revealed, were well before the Russian investigations. They said, yeah, it looks like the Hillary campaign is going to use some strategy to smear Trump as some sort of Russian asset.
Yep.
Right? Yeah,
You
sure.
know how they
right?
knew that? They used it on McCain first.
Yeah, they gave him the dossier. It was McCain that delivered it.
Oh,
Well, they tried this whole. They tried to do this, so it was actually written by someone, can't remember his name, but he wrote up a news article in 2010, I believe, and it was kind of like a play, and it outlined this whole Russiagate to the letter, and they decided to use that against McCain, but he essentially took the knee and played by their game. So when they tried to implement this again against Trump, that's why McCain was a key part in it, and that's why he had the dossier. This tactic was tried on McCain first, and he essentially folded immediately, and that's why it never played out. But this had been written by some of the top executives that are involved way before in an article in 2010.
So are you saying that Donald Trump has more spine than John McCain had?
Oh, imagine that. It's so shocking.
That's
John
amazing,
McCain's,
isn't it?
John McCain's tumor has more spine than John McCain did.
Yeah, so where I get all this from, for those curious, Dan Bongino outlines this in his books. And he has all the articles, he has everything to back it up. And the first book that he wrote, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Spygate. That one's more in line with like a police file, and it's very easy to follow along with and understand. But he breaks this down in his podcast every day, and he references it all the time. He has all the material that you can reference and dig into yourself. And I don't know, when I first started listening to him and this was all brought up, I was like, this is not only very interesting, but it's very disgusting. Like, that's when I started realizing, oh, deep state is a real thing.
Yeah.
Well,
because I like to play ignorant a lot of the times.
Well,
but...
he was Hillary's. He was on the Clinton detail when he was in the Secret Service. Like, it was towards the end of the deal. And he said, I remember him talking about her hurling a fucking ashtray at Bill one night and shit. Crazy shit.
In the Oval Office.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was in the detail for the Obamas, and he saw all this shit going down, so he quit and then ran for a political office in, I believe, New York. He was also a New York cop.
Did you see Michael's dick? Is that what got him off that assignment?
No, he didn't see.
That took me a second. I was like, wait, who? I don't know. Something didn't sit well with him, so he left the Secret Service.
Slaply Get Right says McCain was a pussy. Yeah, McCain's a pussy, and he was another neocon piece of shit that I hope the Republican Party never reverts back to. I really hope it does. I have very little faith that it does. In fact, I've actually been urging, I want liberals, like, I don't even care if you're like one of those people that like, yeah, I'm actually a liberal, like I'm Brett Weinstein. If you're in a deep fucking blue state that has all these fucking far left nonsense candidates running that don't want to do shit about anything, run as a Republican. Run as a non-conventional Republican to oppose them. It has to happen. And I would vote, like, if I lived in one of those states, I'd be like, yes, this guy's not like a real Republican, but fuck it, I'm going to vote for him. And maybe he'll get some Democrats to vote for him too.
Yeah. Well, okay, what we need to do is destroy the two-party system. The founders were very vehemently against a two-party system. They wanted a no-party system where you voted for a person that had the platform you were interested in.
Well, we have like a first past the ballot thing. So unfortunately, I agree. I want to break the two-party. I would love for that to go away, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the more reasonable response is to be like, we're living in a scenario right now where it's really liberal versus anti-liberal, right? The anti-liberal, these are the globalists. These are the people that are proposing things like the Great Reset.
Oh.
They're the people that are pushing critical race theory throughout the entire administrative state, which Joe Biden, I just want to say, hey, Carrington Harrison, Jesse Signal, you so-called liberals that voted for Biden thinking that he wasn't going to promote this thing that you really hate and think is dangerous. You're already fucking wrong. And you owe us an apology right now. Or you owe us an admittance that you were wrong. Because he's already posting about how what was like the latest thing on Twitter was about like transgender remembrance and how like 30 transgendered people died of something when more people than that died in Chicago in the last month.
Huh?
Yeah, that Biden, during that town hall thing he did, right?
Yeah.
It's not even talking about the town hall. This was like a recent thing that he just posted on Twitter. And another thing, I showed you the video of, or I gave you a picture of it, but you don't really need to bring it up. He's already appointing to his advisory boards people that are experts on systemic racism, and we both know what that means, right? Critical theorists. That's who he's appointing. So these people that said, well, yeah, I hate critical race theory, and I'm probably left of center, liberal, and I think the Democratic Party can go back to what it used to be, and Biden's totally the moderate. Right. I'm gonna vote for him. You're wrong. You were wrong. You're already wrong, and he's not even in office yet, and you were wrong.
I hope this turns around and he doesn't come in office.
Yeah,
I'm not I hope it, but it's not good.
Yeah, I think that's the way to look at things rationally. I do think these claims of election fraud, right? They were already foretold. Like, this story was already written because of the way we changed all these laws, because of, guess what, COVID, to completely change the way our elections work. And actually make things like, they took away lots of securities that prevent people from doing things fraudulently. And we're being gaslighted by the media to think, well, we live in America. There's no way possible that this could possibly have been a fraudulent election. No way. Could never have happened. Yet, at the same time, like, for the last fucking 4 years, we've been told that Trump is literally Hitler.
Yep.
And that by any means necessary, we have to get him out of office.
Well, no, we've been hearing that he meddled in the election to get elected in the first place.
Russia. Right on.
Well, and Becca just sent me a link. Yeah. Part of Joe Biden's Day 1 executive orders is repealing Donald Trump's ban on, well, they call it a ban on critical race theory. But that's actually not what it was. If you actually read his executive order, it was just banning any form of diversity training that belittles or demoralizes any particular race for anything they do, right? Like, it was actually written in a way that is anti-race, or I'm saying anti-racist.
Race bias.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm saying anti-racist. It was against racism in the liberal fashion.
Right.
Right? It said, like, look, we need to, like, I'm totally fine with diversity trainings that use the concept of common humanity politics to explain why you shouldn't be racist. And day one, Joe Biden's going to repeal that. Once again, Carrington Harrison and Jesse Signal, there's a bunch of other ones that voted for Biden that pretend to be against critical race theory. Once again, you think critical race theory is a big deal? You didn't think Biden was going to help perpetuate it? You're wrong. Like, Biden's just a figurehead. He was installed.
He's not even that. He's literally a space filler.
Yes, you're right. Like, nothing that happens during a Biden administration is going to have anything to do with anything that came out of his senile head.
No.
It's all the people...
Like he's a placeholder.
Yeah, it's all the people around him that we're going to see, which is one thing I commend Trump on. Trump, like, he picked a lot of people around him he shouldn't have picked around him. But he fought back against them, and he fired people, got rid of them, right? Like, he played the role of the president and made his own decisions as president based on what he campaigned on and what he thought was right. Which is what the president should fucking do. Apparently, God, now I'm getting really mad. Like, it's even worse because you had, like, people like Vindman testifying about how Donald Trump was going against U.S. foreign policy. And I'm like, you're not elected! You don't make foreign policy, you fucking asshole! And yet the media ate that up, that Trump was the problem, and not these people under him that were being insubordinate.
Well, he admitted to falsifying records.
Yeah. And guess what the media did? They clapped. They're like, good job.
It's for the greater good.
Way to resist the evil Donald Trump, you unelected bureaucrat. Like, you were talking about deep state, like it's a conspiracy. Let's just call it the administrative state. That's fine. We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Like, these are just unelected people that are appointed to
red
do
tape
things.
Yeah, the red tape state.
Yep.
I think it's worse than that, though.
Like, I'm just saying it's not a conspiracy to say there's a whole bunch of unelected bureaucrats that have a lot of power when it comes to executive decision making. It's not. That's a fact. That's a factual statement.
Yeah. Which leaves us all, like, helpless because they aren't elected officials. There's nothing we can do about it.
Oh yeah,
that's part of, and I think
plenty
Trump,
of things we can do. They just aren't lawful.
We're SOL, man.
Well, yeah.
that's part of the reason a lot of us voted for Trump. Like, it's not that I have like specific. Trump has like a lot of ideas. Some ideas I agree with. A lot of them I'm not a huge fan of. I'm far more libertarian. I would rather have seen like a Rand Paul, which also they never would have led. Like, he would have broken the system too. But part of the reason we voted for him is because we were just like, well, fuck it, right? We're just gonna have Rodney Dangerfield get in office and be a fucking like a wrecking ball to everything that's going on right now because we're so sick of it.
Yes.
And to that extent, he was fairly successful at doing what we wanted him to do. That might be why when he came up for re-election, he won the second most votes of any person in presidential history.
I think he won the most. I honestly think he won the most. If we look at the numbers of people that have voted overall in America, we aren't in realistic possibilities, even with voting being done by mail this time around.
Them are not wrong.
It's the numbers don't work. Okay.
No, they don't.
You're trying to tell me that Joe Biden got almost 15 million more votes than Barack Obama.
Yeah, well, it would have been, it's not 15, right? It's like 10. It doesn't matter. That number is inconsequential to the fact that Joe Biden was either so popular amongst our populace that more people voted for him than ever. Several million of which didn't bother voting down ticket. which would the other explanation would be they hated Trump so much that they didn't vote for Trump because he was such an asshole.
That doesn't explain how the Republicans swept everything. In fact, it looks like the Democrat majority is very much in danger right now. It's going to be less than 10.
What you just said is exactly why that later explanation that the hatred for Trump is the reason Joe Biden got elected. Is because if that was true, you would have actually seen the Republican Party that at least facially was standing behind him lose equally to Trump.
Yes.
So the other explanation is we have to believe that Joe Biden was so popular as a person to be president that more people than ever voted for him, and a lot of them just didn't bother to vote down ticket.
Which is insane.
It's hard to
It
swallow.
makes no sense at all.
It's hard to fucking swallow. I'm just gonna say that. It's one of those things where that's why all this election fraud stuff, I want to see the evidence. Don't get me wrong. And I was the same way. I wasn't on YouTube, I think, in 2015. I don't think I talked to any of you. I think it was about a couple years after that. But the whole Russiagate thing, when it first came out that they were investigating it, I was like, this seems fucking nuts, right? It seems just as nuts as the idea that the American elections would be overthrown by Venezuelan actors in their voting software flipping votes for Biden. And I was just like, I want to see the evidence, right? Let it play out. And it did. And at the end, I was vindicated. I was like, yeah, that was fucking nuts. It was crazy. No matter how you try to spin it, there was no evidence for Russiagate whatsoever. Even at the beginning of the investigation, the anonymous sources that were being touted out by places like the Washington Post, making the articles about things that if you really looked into it.
Let me interrupt real quick here, dude. All right, because, they're criticizing Sidney Powell for doing something that Adam Schiff did for 3 fucking years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
You know, and it's like, and that motherfucker is, at least Sidney is presentable and you know, you can look at her and she's an attractive, she used to be attractive back in the day. She's got some mileage on her and shit. She's old.
Yeah, she's old as fuck.
But she knows her shit, right? Adam Schiff is a smarmy piece of shit, and it's like, so why don't you do for at least 3 or 4 weeks here what we had to do for 3 years?
You're actually nailing the point. I think I can sum it, and you're going to agree with me. The media doesn't actually give a shit about evidence. They just give a shit about if the claim supports their narrative.
Exactly. Bingo.
Well, it's not even the media anymore. Okay, so one of the big things I've been looking into this because I was trying to figure it out last night because everybody keeps talking about the servers getting raided in Germany that went through Spain, and the media is going, that never happened. It just didn't happen. It didn't happen. But there's half of the Trump team coming out and saying, no, it happened. We have the server. So I don't know what the truth is on that, or we have the data or some shit like that. I don't know what the truth is on that. But if Sidney Powell is sitting on that kind of data and that kind of information, there is no fucking way we are going to see our election determined through the electorate this time.
Yeah. She recently said, I think she's going to release it this week. I don't really know. I mean, I care in the extent I want to see the evidence.
They're claiming Trump won with 413 electoral votes.
That's fucking nuts.
They're claiming that California flipped red. Now, it wouldn't surprise me. Truth be told, it would not surprise me because California has a habit of going Republican for celebrities. They've done it several times in the past. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. What is shocking to me is that they're throwing out actual numbers, which makes me push X to doubt.
Yeah.
I like Doku's comment, actually. He's like, don't forget the impeachment on partisan lines. I recall where the transcript was released and showed no quid pro quo.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to add to that is that then we got the bombshell about the laptops where it seems like Donald Trump was right to be worried about it.
Adam Schiff is a Weasley guy that put a camera in the women's restroom at an elementary school. What a freak. That's I don't know.
Yeah, whether or not he did that, he's equally creepy.
He's describing a person.
Yep.
So, an archetype that Adam Schiff actually does look like. I liked the guy on the, it's not the Red Eye anymore, it's Gutfeld's show. And he's just a comedian that would do commentary, and he would dress up and put on makeup to look like shit.
Adam, a salute. Yeah, Tom Salute.
Yeah. Oh God, really, really funny shit. But what I was gonna say is, what we're seeing right now, if this data is actually accurate, guys, what happened was the massive turnout for Trump, the vote for Trump actually broke the algorithm people had been using with the voting software to rig the elections prior to his election. The type of algorithmic changes they keep talking about that everybody just, that was a person screwed up. Oops.
Well, all right, let's stop right here. All right, so Excel, you're a computer guy. Explain how that can happen.
What are you talking about? If like the software itself was designed to trigger switches? That's, I mean,
can you literally break the code down? Can you?
Yeah. Well, no. Facially, that's like really easy, and that's computer science 101, right? Like, you would just say, all right, I have this program running, and it's going to count things, okay?
Right.
And then every time it loops around and keeps counting, if I see a certain deviation, then we're going to change the numbers on one side versus the other. It's, like I said, like, facially, like, the idea that you could program a computer to do that is easy as fuck. Like, nobody is denying that you can do it.
Well, it's the assertion that an algorithm can be broken. I don't know. What does that mean?
Well, no, I don't mean it physically broke the algorithm. I mean, what happened was that because Trump had such a large turnout, we were able to.
Well, yeah. So what would happen is, right, like,
and that's how we ended up with like the 300 and the 150%.
Yeah, okay. Like, if there's a differential of 1%, flip it, right? Mm-hmm. But if the code was just like whatever the differential is, flip it. Then if the differential was like 20%, you would see giant flips if you coded it that way.
And that's how it's been coded. It had to have been, because you look at 140,000 votes in the middle of the night. That wasn't a calculation error. A county that's small and light in population having a 6,000 vote flip, and that being air quote user error, that's highly unlikely if you're using a system where you just plug shit in. These were votes that had to be switched back because the entire ticket was flipped.
At the very least, I agree it's not normal. And at the very least, I hope that these lawsuits lead to forcing states to have better security around their elections. At least saying that, even if they have no remedy for it, saying that, like, COVID-19 was not a pretext to lack security and start doing things like just mailing everybody on the voter rolls a ballot and letting them send it in remotely. But like, these things need to go away. I understand. I completely understand. I also, the last thing I was going to say is, and universally ban, well, I don't want to say ban all electronic voting systems, right?
I do.
Well, no, like, I'm okay with, you have a paper ballot and there's a scan, right? There's a scan from a machine that's been tested, that is not connected to the internet in any way. I'm okay with that.
Right, air gap.
Right,
and
sure. Then if things are close and there's good reason to suspect fraud, you still have the paper ballots to look at, right? But every ballot should be cast on paper.
But I mean, the internet connection itself was like, that's suspect as fraud.
Yeah, they
there
said
should be
it was
no
never
internet
supposed
connection.
to be.
That's actually against regulation and
They're all
statute.
supposed to be air gapped.
Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
there's,
Crazy.
but, so, I'm probably articulating this wrong is what my problem is. Because I think Excel and I are saying the same thing. What I'm saying is that because Trump had such a large turnout, the tiny little flips they would do to slowly nudge things to where they wanted and barely get by, I think that because there was such a large differential they weren't prepared for. Because either way you cut the cake and look at the slices, Trump had over 70 million people vote for him.
At least.
So,
and remember,
that's a record
so
turnout.
when they would do the numbers, is that they would subtract from Trump and add it to Biden. So what you did, you doubled the gap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you're at 100 and he's at 100. So I give it to him. He's 150 and you're 50.
Exactly. Did you I think it's sort of similar to what they're doing with the CDC numbers. In my state, and I'm assuming this is probably most states because they're saying the CDC does the same thing. They aren't paying attention to whether it's the same person getting tested repeatedly, or if it's the person that got tested in like April and then they got tested in November. Those are all counted as separate people and separate tests. So when they give you your test totals and they're talking about our infection rates and everything, they aren't taking into account how many people are getting retested, which changes infection rates. Like cuts them in half.
Yeah, they're also, well, if you actually look at the bottom line CDC numbers, I think they're accurate when they're talking about infection to fatality rate. But you can use the statistics to lie very easily. One of the ways I've seen them do it, and there was an article posted, and Tom Woods called it out. They were talking about like a giant spike, and this was several weeks ago, in a particular state. And what happened is that they reported 3 weeks worth of data on one day. And then they put all the, results on that particular day. Which
Oregon has done that several times.
Well, and it's common. Like, I don't blame the reporters for that. I blame the people that are trying to, like, the journalist, put it in quotes, that write the stories, that if they really understood what the statistics mean, they would not, like, the whole tone of the article would be completely different.
Well, yeah, but these weren't a journalist. This was OHA. This is Oregon Health Authority.
Oh, well, I mean, you guys are ran by communists that just want complete control. So I get that.
They're totally lying about our numbers. It's like they keep talking about lockdown, and we're going back into lockdown. My county has never left lockdown. We have been in some sort of restricted operational function since, like, March.
Yep.
And we have almost all the hospitals.
Yeah, I mean, I live in a state that is, I mean, at least our governor's Republican. He's mostly anti-lockdown. But it doesn't change the fact that our county is ran by Democrats. And, yeah, a lot of businesses are done for. And we're technically, it's not a lockdown, right? Like, I can go to the store and stuff. I have to wear a mask. I mean, that doesn't necessarily bother me, but there's certainly, like, you go through strip malls, right? People that open up small businesses, like, oh, I got a yoga gym or karate studio, or bars and grills, right? Or specifically bars, right? Bars and grills, some of them are surviving, most of them aren't.
Yeah.
But you can't go there, right? I can go get carry out, can't walk in.
We can have our alcohol delivered to us now.
You like
Which
that,
is-
don't you, back then?
Yeah, actually, this is one thing that we can empower. This is where we need to give some credit to the power of capitalism and innovation, right?
Right.
Change the situation, and all of a sudden, we have opportunities to get everything delivered. You know how many hot fucking Uber drivers I've seen recently? You know who all those girls are? They were the waitresses at the restaurants that only employ hot girls.
Yeah.
We have like drive-in strip clubs now. Like the drive-in movies, now it's drive-in strip clubs.
And they're freaky as fuck looking. Up here, everybody wears a gas mask while they do it.
Well, and like my job particularly, like I do IT type stuff for a company that it's fine. Like COVID it affects us, but like I do data and analytics, so a lot of what I do actually is projecting for what COVID is going to cause for the next season. But regardless, like our company has been doing fine. We've been working from home in a lot of Zoom meetings. The biggest complaint actually since work from home is that everybody finds themselves doing more hours of actual work than they would before.
Yeah.
And it's going to change the company permanently. We're going to have way more work from home than ever before. Because before they definitely had a very traditional strategy of you need to show up for the
Look
office
like a
when you have to
Japanese
work.
person,
Yeah. I was working from home before all the shutdowns. So
Yeah.
nothing much changed for me other than the courts all shut down.
Yeah,
So we started
always-
doing Skype hearings or phone conferences instead, but now we're majorly backlogged
Yeah.
on trials.
I bet.
Yeah, I mean, like with my like for what I do for the past 5 years, like if I really had to work from home, I could. But it was kind of frowned upon, right? The idea was like, you have to work, you need to show up to work.
Right.
The company kind of changed their attitude on that a little bit, which I think is actually a good thing. It's a money-saving opportunity because it reduces, it opens up space in the properties that they have to allow for other employees that actually need to be there.
Right.
Right.
Right. I literally, I can't think of a single thing I do that I can't do working from home. There's not one thing that I do that I couldn't do from my house. The only upside to being in the office is that you get a lot of information just by drive-by conversations.
Right.
And those are lacking.
Well, so, like, America has the longest work week or has the largest amount of hours per work week of any nation in the world.
Yeah,
the
a lot of
Japanese
that
actually work less than we do. So,
Really?
yes, I'm curious exactly how much work are you trying to get out of a worker at this point? That sounds to me like you're more just trying to get more for less, and I don't see how that's capitalistic. Because you're talking
Well-
about human labor, not goods or commodities.
Well, I was actually, like, going back to what I said, I was just talking about how, quickly companies that are just trying to keep going were able to adjust.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm talking about the mindset that you're working from is another one of these blind assumptions. People have been told that, oh, Americans don't work enough, we're lazy, but quite the opposite. Americans have the longest work week of any nation in the world.
Yeah, actually, if anybody that says that that's very nonsensical. I do think we have a class of people that want us to be the laziest, and those are the people we're fighting against.
Those are the laziest people.
Silver spoon college kids out in the streets throwing M80s and catching businesses on fire.
They aren't
Because they-
necessarily even well-to-do. They're just lazy.
Yeah,
It takes a lot of work
I
to
agree.
protest.
It does.
It's long, hard midnight hours.
You need
You're in
a
the
lot-
dark
Yeah.
all the time.
You gotta wake up. You gotta wake up by 9 o'clock at night.
All that walking the streets, screaming, it's hard on you.
True story.
I have to go look this up now. Sorry, guys. Give me a
I'm
second.
waiting for true story.
True story on the peaceful protesters. They work hard. Get their message out.
Well, man, you showed the video, or you had not the video, you had the screenshot up, but we didn't even get to talking about Rittenhouse, did we?
Not really, no.
I found it. It took me like 2 seconds. I really like using Brave. I can find stuff on the internet again, guys. It's amazing.
I'll have to look into it.
Seriously, it works just fine. Like I've tried other platforms that they've brought out before, and they're really like, unstable, and your shit doesn't run.
Well,
And
it's really weird because it was screwing with my with my CPU, especially when I was trying to like do video, right? And not watch video, but burn video for what we do here. So there's that. Right. So here it is. Our Rittenhouse. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, otherwise known as AOC.
Yeah, I'm trying to wait for it to bring up, but it's fucking insane what this person trying to do. It's outright evil, right? They're trying to condemn this person. Like, if you watch the videos, this person has like a really good fucking case as to why it was self-defense. Actually, it was so obviously self-defense that I don't understand how two people can be watching the same screen and seeing a different film in this case, right? It is so fucking obvious that and AOC doesn't say it on this one,
Because she wants to see something different.
but another blue checkmark came out and said this person murdered 2 Black Lives Matter protesters.
Probably Chris.
And I'm just like, that is a straight up lie. These people weren't even fucking black. They were arsonists. They were trying to catch shit on fire.
They were white
They mistook them for somebody else. They were all white.
Yes.
All of them.
And pedophiles. More.
Yeah, like
What?
they
Yeah,
all
one
had
with a
rap
wife beater.
Yeah.
Like, and this person, so, and
he did us a favor.
AOC sitting here trying to say people who argue that dramatic changes to policing, including budgetary ones, will mean violent people will be let out of jail to roam free, rarely ever acknowledge that actually the current system we have today is for the privileged. They think Kyle Rittenhouse is privileged. The only thing that happened, and somebody retweeted this, and they made this point very succinctly, a lot of people think he didn't deserve to be in jail, a lot of strangers, and they voluntarily donated money to get them out.
To help him.
How is that any different than the Black Lives Matter Defense Fund that gets Black Lives Matter protesters out of jail for the crimes they commit?
Or they give it to Joe Biden's campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
DNC.
And there's no difference. And I actually think this goes back to the more nefarious things about critical theory, is that they don't want people like Kyle Rittenhouse to exist because he represents somebody. I know he was a 17-year-old kid. You can have all the criticisms of whether or not, like, ethically he should have been there or not, but he was there, and what happened, his response was completely fine based on the fact that he was there, right? Like, you have to start from the time that the incidents actually happened. And from that point on, Kyle Rittenhouse, as far as I've seen, acted completely appropriate. Actually, more appropriate than most people that share his belief. It
I'm
was so
telling you,
like he
very
went,
disciplined.
he
He was
went,
disciplined.
he tried to run to the fucking cops as soon as possible to
Yeah,
be
he
like,
had-
holy shit, I shot somebody.
He had an
Right.
amazing amount of self-discipline. Like,
Yeah, the people he didn't shoot that were surrounding him, like he only shot the people that literally attacked
Literally
him or
threatening
pulled a
him.
gun on him.
Right.
Like he took a risk on the other people and turned their back on him and ran to the cops.
well,
I think
I
it's
don't-
sad a 17-year-old has to step in and defend businesses and business owners.
Yeah, because the cops were told to stand down.
Right.
Right. See, that's
Cops
the problem. The
obey
problem's with
orders
that
like
fucking
that.
mayor.
and when did cops start obeying orders like that? Last I checked, cops didn't care what the fucking mayor said. Cops cared what happened in the fucking town.
See, I told you, it's like what we were talking about earlier. Precincts are like people, and there's good ones, and then there's sick ones, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, who knows, man? But I got a feeling that it was more the leadership that told them to stand down and just don't fuck with them. Don't answer the phone, 911. Take the night off.
I mean, they even had National Guard there at some point,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're useless
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And it's just sad that a 17-year-old kid had to step in and then was put in such a situation that he had to kill 2 people in self-defense.
Yeah, he had to shoot 3 people. Imagine how he's dealing with this, because he's been sitting in fucking jail the whole time,
Right.
trying to cope with the fact that he took 2 lives and he took the use of some man's arm, and he wasn't doing anything wrong. These things just happened to him, and that probably has some sort of real lingering effect.
Yep. I just want to make sure. So every time you talk about Kyle Rittenhouse on Twitter or whatever, just call him a homicide survivor, attempted homicide survivor, because that's what it was. Everybody on the scene. There was a Timcast where he had people that were there that were part of the filming crew. All of them said, like, yeah, they were trying to kill the kid.
And he was an amazingly reserved person.
Yeah, like exactly. So counter the propaganda with calling him a homicide or attempted homicide survivor.
Yeah,
because that's what he is.
A good description.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock, man.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was looking at the time too. I was like, holy shit, we went on for 2 hours already.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle strikes close to my heart because I only have 1 son out of 4 kids, and my son is one of those people that always does his level best to be the very best person he always can be. He's a veteran. He's going to school to be a chiropractor. He's never struck people unnecessarily. He's very disciplined, and he's a very intelligent and wonderful young man, and I'm very proud of my son. He's made wonderful choices, and I'm proud of him for it. Yeah, he is. And I see a lot of Kyle's attempt at being a good person and his striving. I recognize that. It's
parenting, yes.
It is, and it strikes
Yes.
near and dear to my heart because I only got the 1 son. So he's very precious to our family because he's very much the minority here. And in my eyes, to see these people keep attacking teenage boys is like, I understand how precious boys are.
My question is, all right, so say you're in a social subset that is not big on like the dad sticking around after the girl gets knocked up, and you compare to people that raise nuclear families that under those circumstances get married and get jobs and shit and and raise a child,
Yeah.
And you have to say, well, okay, you people can see what's going on here and what works and what doesn't. Why are you choosing to stay in the fucking in the ditch when you can put the cart on the quite easily on the road?
There's an effort required. You're going to have to pay attention to where you're putting the cart after you put it up there.
Yeah.
You still have to steer it.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if there's something else, at play there, some kind of defiance. I really think that there's a flippant kind of air about some of that shit. Just saying.
Oh, there is.
That's my perception, and I may be totally wrong, right? But no, usually I call them like I see them. My gut's good. When it comes to that shit, so it's all bullshit.
Yeah, it really upsets me because young men and teenage boys especially are a very important and precious demographic that we very much undervalue in our society. It disgusts me to see media go after him so hard and see big tech double down. It bothers me because it's abusive and it bleeds out into all the other young men that want to grow up and do something valuable like that with their lives. And it just pisses me off at a very deep, visceral level. And it's
the whole point.
Yeah.
They want to beat these young men down and show them, if they show the initiative to do well, this is what happens.
Yeah.
You want to be a good person, we're going to beat you down. So Kyle is very much an example for that generation of young men. This is what happens. Same with Covington kid. What's his name? Sandman. Yes. They used him too. He was a fine example of very reserved.
They tried like hell to drag his ass down.
Yeah, Becca, you're right. I think you're tying it back into this point I was trying to make. Because if Kyle Rittenhouse would have been attacked by 3 white supremacists that don't exist, and the same thing would have happened, the entire media would have been on his side as a hero.
Yeah.
But what's going on right now is because the people that attacked him, right, the people that were being brutal and violent, they had the right narrative where they were out disrupting and dismantling the system, as critical theory says we need to do.
Right.
He's demonized. He is evil.
Yep.
Like it's not about his action. It's about his ideas.
Right. And his ideas led to his actions. And they will definitely use him as an example.
Yeah, like I said, they could have been, if it was in reverse though, if his ideas were, I am super pro Black Lives Matter and I'm going to shoot these non-existent white supremacists that are attacking me, everyone would have been like, what a hero. Killing the white supremacists and surviving white supremacist violence.
But in a way they did. But in a way he did. Okay, so the only person in this situation that isn't white is Kyle Rittenhouse.
True.
He's mixed.
Yep.
That's interesting.
He's, what, half Hispanic.
Go look at him, you can tell. It's so he literally was surviving white supremacy.
Well, I mean, earlier in the day, he was doing evil things like cleaning up graffiti.
I know.
Man.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I just have to laugh at the stupidity.
No, it's okay to laugh because we're removed from the situation. Like, let's at least get a little bit of humor out of the ridiculousness of the situation.
I mean, like, I'm sure his bucket list is going to be really fucking short by the time he hits 21 because, like, he even got, like, a wannabe leader of the free world to call him a white supremacist. So, like, you know, I don't know how you're really going to top that as a Zoomer. So
actually, I'm going to be real honest. I think he's, like, as much as it sucks for him right now, there is a group of people with money that are very supportive. That's why he got out of jail for this.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like Kyle Kashuv, right? Because he got shit for being like, yeah, I was at the fucking school shooting in Florida, and I don't want to ban guns. Like, and I think my peers that you guys are propping up are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he's actually got a lot of support for it, right? He's gotten to meet with senators. He's got a political career ahead of him. He's a blue check mark on Twitter now. As much as I hate Twitter, I don't really care. But there's going to be a group that's going to support him for the rest of his life, just like Kyle Kashuv.
Stop talking. We all need to stop.
Hey man, I muted in everything, my friend. I was being good girl. I did it. It wasn't me.
All right.
God, I love how we started this stream with "I'm mad as hell."
And I'm not gonna take it anymore.
I'm not gonna take it anymore. We've had multiple rants where we're just all mad. Even I went on some mad as hell rants.
See, yeah, and good Gestalt, empty chair therapy is like that. If you do it right and you have a good person that knows how to do the shit, you feel you feel lighter. After
You gotta get Clint Eastwood involved, guys. Sorry.
This is a 44 Magnum, most powerful
I was-
gun in the world.
Well, dear Mr. President, I'm gonna tell you all this because I know you'd never sit down with me. The empty chair, sorry.
I want to lick your nipples.
Ah!
Right. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I actually met Clint Eastwood when I was 6, so that's a little personal for me.
Yikes. Sorry about that. Well, let's go ahead and chill out, starting with Tema.
Okay. Well, you can. I'm Tema the Hun. I'm super smart lady. I do all kinds of big brainy things. No, I don't. Really, I don't. You can find me on Parler because fuck Twitter. I'm not building another account for those people. Fuck them. So I'm Tema the Hun at Parler. I think tomorrow, if everything goes to plan, on Messiah of Keck's channel, he's in the chat tonight. We are going to be doing Dear Rat Skelter. I believe that's at 7 p.m. Dear Rat Skeller?
Yeah.
Did I say Skelter?
Yes.
I didn't mean
Like
I meant
Helter.
Dear Rat Skeller.
Yeah,
My bad.
I like Skelter actually. It's kind of hot.
Yeah, but it's not. Doesn't make a good
edgy
word.
kind of- Yeah, Rascala.
It doesn't make any sense that way.
I know.
And I think that's 7 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern at 4 p.m. Pacific. If I have my times right, I may not because I'm a dummy. And then I won't chill any of the other stuff because that's Irate's job. It's his channel.
Miss Becca?
Another episode of Fairly Just Becca tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central, and I will have Irate with me,
I'll be there.
Moonshock, and your boy Pat. And then the rest of the week, I think I'm just going to play it by ear. I have a lot of family coming in for Thanksgiving, so
Yeah.
we don't
Should
follow.
we just take Friday off? You know? It's been a while since we've done that. So think about that.
It's up to you, man.
Yeah, because my family's planning on going camping.
Oh.
So I'm trying to get out of it. I'm not much into camping. So.
I'm gonna sleep on rocks. God damn it. Right?
Yeah.
I feel you.
I mean, I could be out there all day and fish with them, but I want to go home to my bed.
Hey Becca, I just was your 300 sub. What do I
Thank
win?
you. I don't know, because you would be my 4th 300 sub. I've hit 300 at least 4 times.
They keep sucking you off, don't they?
Yeah.
Not in a good way either. It's bad shit.
And it's been the past week. Within the week, I've hit 300 at least 4 times, and I'm just like, okay. Someone's just like fucking with me or something. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Excel.
All right. Accelerate.
Is there a Bama game next week, and is it at night?
I don't know. We made this
All right,
happen,
well-
so.
Well, like I said, if there's no night Bama game, you'll see me here next week. Other than that, I don't do the YouTube, so you can subscribe to my channel if you want to. Occasionally, I have random conversation streams.
Okay, and this is Irate Prostate. This here is my channel. Tomorrow, for Ice Cream Sunday, I'm going to have the one and only Bluntly Blondie, who likes to go to protests and shit and try to get into shit with people. And she should be interesting. She's she's another one that I saw on Lords of the Night, one of Scribelites. Blondes. Yeah, he's got a thing for blondes, don't he? We know that.
Scribe is into redheads.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. That's right. Buxom Red. That's right. Take them like busty petites. Anyway, all right, and then Monday, Becca and I doing the extra credit. We're going to do an extra long one, and we're going to go through the William Griffith, More Dangerous Than War. It's really More Deadly Than War, but I changed it to Dangerous, and they remonetized it.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Imagine that,
literally
just the title.
Yeah, deadly, exactly. More deadly than war. You know, it could have been global warming.
Could have.
You know, and they would still demonetize that shit. You know what? Because they're hypocrites. We're bringing it back full circle there, Excel.
Uh-oh.
All right, y'all ready to say goodbye and get out of here?
Goodbye. Get out of here.